Good morning, land of YouTube. Donnie Cosmic. Out on my morning walk. Would you look at that beautiful sky? Look at how crazy beautiful my backdrop is. Yeah. I wish I was some kind of giant and that was cotton candy and I could just take a bite out of it. Oh my God, the air out here. Thank God I don't smell a bunch of exhaust. You know, I'm about 50 feet or so from the road. No exhaust. I just smell nature. There's a lot of chickens back there. And I got a lot of road noise, whatever. But then, I could focus on all the other things, like the roosters were crowing. I like being out in nature. I find a connection with the divine in nature that I don't find anywhere else. But, I'm not like way, way deep out in nature. That's a different kind of spiritual connection where there's not a lot of human influence. That'd be cool, but I'm doing what I can here and now, right here. Like, yeah, there's cars, whatever. I'm not going to focus on them anymore. I think my other morning walk where I was right off the side of the road, walking around Llano to this trail, back down south right to Ludwig. Well, starting on Ludwig. I didn't like how close I was to the cars or anything like that. So today I drove over to the start of the trail. Can't seem to say anything right. I'm stuttering. I recently had COVID and got over it real quick. Pretty much real quick. The symptoms wise, it wasn't too severe. I did have one very rough night and some severe body pain. But the lasting thing that's irritating me is this neurological shit to where I say words wrong. I almost have to think about what I'm saying now, and I don't like that. I really don't like thinking before I speak. Not that I do not think before I speak, but normally my thought process is way faster and a tad bit more articulate. Sometimes I'll catch myself saying the wrong word. But I'm finding that, a week out of testing negative for COVID, I have a little bit of a struggle with it. So I'm correcting myself when I do. The more I focus on it, the better I'm getting. In any case, oh man, that sky is amazing. I'm out here on the trail, doing my best to be part of nature where I'm at. And I found the other day, cool part about the story is for a little while I've had the Liquid Death merchandise website on my phone. As soon as I had the abundance of money, I was going to buy some Liquid Death stuff. One of them being a hat, right? And I end up getting on the freeway the other day and somebody had lost their hat. I saw a hat there and I thought it was a Milwaukee hat. I just kept driving. 2 days go by, hat's still there. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to stop and get this hat. I pulled over and get it. It is a Liquid Death hat with the chainsaw guy. Well, with the chainsaw, saying murder your thirst. And it's brand new. So, it had a little bit of being on the side of the highway, right? But it didn't rain or anything. It was just sitting there. So I cleaned it. And it's mine. I put a little pin on it. My American flag. Because why not be fucking patriotic in America? We're fucking Americans. We need to stand for something, right? We can't be Americans standing divided and be like, yeah, Puerto Rican pride, or, I mean, you can show your heritage and where you came from. I think it's really important to also just be American, you know? We're here. We're American. You chose to live here. I chose to live here by birth. Maybe I didn't choose to live here. Maybe some of us didn't choose to live here, but we're still American. So, I don't know. That's my view. We should all stand behind the fact that we're Americans because we're here. And if we think anything else, then that's cuckoo, because, I mean, I guess we could transform America into something else. But it's not America. That'd be a hard task. We could be like, yeah, fuck you, America. We're going to be patriots, and be like, now it's Wonderland. Everybody gets on psychedelics. It becomes Wonderland. I'm just joking. Don't do that. I don't know where my head goes sometimes. I think that I have some pretty strong views and beliefs. But at the same point in time, it's like I use logic a little bit. Like, I am in America. I'm an American. Right? And if we're not happy with America, I mean, there's other places we can live. Like, if we really don't like a certain place because of a certain set of values, or we don't get along with people or whatever, I'm pretty sure we can find a place where we do. We don't have to say, this dirt, I have to be at this dirt. Let me go to some other dirt. Maybe I should find my fucking tribe where I fit in, right? So, I am in, as a recovered addict, I am in a recovery setting quite a bit. I like going to meetings. I find a very, very spiritual flow at most meetings. Some of them I don't find the spiritual flow. It's just not there. The juice ain't there. But, you know, whatever. Like, I don't really return to some of those. But there's other meetings, and some of these individuals I've known for some time now, very spiritual. Like, insanely spiritual. Then, yesterday, between 1 and 4, you know, I kind of like, technically it would have been between Saturday evening and Sunday afternoon that I met a few people, and then a group of individuals that were like, kind of like my tribe. Very similar in appearance. You know, as far as like the way I collage myself together with tattoos and piercings and whatnot. And they're, you know, whatever. They're around my age, younger, some way younger, like by 10, 15 years, whatever. But for shits and giggles, you know, my whole life I've been kind of like a lone wolf mentality. I've been a one-man show due to learned behavior from my father, being a one-man show, not really relying on anything else. So I didn't really have a good manager of the household showing me how to utilize resources around me in order to benefit my life and my mental health the best possible way. And by that I mean, like, if we try to do everything ourselves constantly, that's fucking tiring. We'll run ourselves into the ground. I know that at this age of 38. I've known that for some time. I've been doing my best to work through my issues, my problems, and ultimately to become a healthier person. So, where I take that, I take it to identifying with the fact that I've never really hung out with anybody that looked like me, first of all. I may dress up a certain way. I have tattoos a certain way. I have piercings. But a group of individuals that were like me, I never fucking hung out with because I was like more of a loner. Like, I don't know, just by myself. Me, mine, my little circle, my family, putting all my eggs in one basket, kind of. And that was dangerous too, because, you know, as there's no balance in health along the lines of, you know, external sources for stimulation, with family being the only thing, there's bound to be problems. So if I had friends or a community of people and resources, I believe I wouldn't be in this boat right now that I'm in. I'm not saying it in a hindsightical negative point of view. I'm just looking back. Like, not that I regret it, because I'm here now and the best is yet to come. The idea is that I was a very closed world person and I did not rely on anything else. I was always like that freaking lone wolf mentality, prepared for anything, survivalist status, studying all the survivalist techniques I could, just so I knew, you know, I like wild edible stuff. I like foraging for wild fungus. I like knowing what I can eat if I go off in the wilderness. I like knowing how to survive, you know. I've always been into all of these survivalist programmings and being prepared for anything. I've just always been like that. It's not healthy for relationships, trust me. So, if you have a healthy relationship constantly with everybody around you and you utilize a community of people, fucking A, awesome. I'm not talking to... This is probably not a message for you at all. But if you do not, and somehow you identify with me, I would say it's a good chance that you're okay where you're at, but it might be a really, really beneficial thing to start opening up to relying on people around you, a community of people, to be there for somebody, or to be able to be helped by somebody around you. That way, we're not so narrow, like closed-in world, narrow-minded, as in relationship-wise. A lot of this comes from like a privately defined world that I grew up with. So it was really, really severe learned behavior. My childhood, that shit came through a lot of pain, suffering, and mental abuse. Verbal abuse, all kinds of shit. Thank God I had known the whole time that I'm not going to go out and repeat that shit. Now, I think bits and pieces of it, like this loner mentality, or, you know, just trying to do everything I could for just my little family, bits and pieces of damage slipped through the cracks, right? But I did learn at a young age that I would never abuse a woman or a child physically, because I didn't like the way I was hurt. I didn't like the way I was watching my mom get hurt. I didn't like the way I watched my sister get hurt. And I would never want to repeat that, ever. Some people don't learn that. Some people go out and repeat it. You know, learned behavior, and then they just become exactly who they fucking... It's like taking shit downhill. That's kind of the going trend with society, and it happens unconsciously. Like, somebody could have some bad experience, and then they take it out on somebody in traffic, random, and then that person takes it to another person, and then the lower person takes it home, and Well, it was my bad day in traffic or whatever. My bad day at work. My boss yelled at me. I don't see any benefit to that kind of mentality. There's a little mouse that pulled out in front of me just now. Came right out of the ground. A little field mouse that lives in the ground. And he's back over there. I don't believe I'm going to get him on camera. He seems... Oh. Look. See, he thought he was sneaky, but then the dead grass was a dead giveaway. I was watching the grass move up top where he was at. What a good distraction. Yeah, I have never once agreed with the whole mentality of just having some kind of dysfunctional society to where we take abuse from somebody and we deliver it to somebody else. I always try to let it stop with me. And that's breaking a cycle. If it's just me breaking my cycle within my family, fine. I take it a little bit further. I do it everywhere. If somebody treats me poorly, I stand up for myself in the situation and I do not back down. I let them know that that's not okay for me to be treated that way. Most of the time, these individuals, some of them have gotten upset and there's been a mild threat of violence or something like that. I don't really find that anymore. I find that the way that I present myself, very calm, centered, and grounded, it basically removes any kind of threat of violence because I'm not intimidating, I'm not escalating things. The times that I've had conversations that have been escalated on one side, it's funny because, I think the way of the world is that these individuals are just hell-bent on getting this equal and opposite reaction out of the other party, which would be me in certain settings. It's only been a handful of times. And these people were very, very distraught for their own reasons. They were upset because of something that happened in their personal life. And then I was going to become a target of abuse. Now, to justify their abuse, well, they have to push until they get a rise out of the other person, right? Then they're like, aha, I told you it was you. Then you're like, fuck, why did I react this way? Not me. I don't let it get that far ever. I will not react. I will not turn and take it out on somebody else after either. I will de-escalate the situation until the other party backs down and leaves. In an aggressive situation, same thing. I just hold my ground because I know I'm not the one to blame and I will not become the one to blame. Coolest part about that is 3 to 4 of these recent conversations with people like that, one guy, and I hardly ever see this guy, but one of them, I'm not going to mention his name, I'm getting food. And this individual, and it was a phone conversation where I didn't back down, right? And this person was just been out of shape, completely crazy. 2 weeks later, sees me in person, runs up super excited to talk to me and happy. And I was like, this is weird. I'm just thinking, what happened here? And it was like they had a different respect for me and they just wanted to talk to me because, for one, I was logical the whole entire conversation and kept my cool, right? So I don't know if people just unconsciously test other people to see where their boundaries lie and how they're going to behave and react and blah, 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 yakety yak, yak, yak. Maybe I'm conducting a social experiment with my fucking behavior constantly. I don't know. But I'm not like other people. I'm not going to take shit from somebody and then deliver it to somebody else. Fuck that. I say nobody should do that. Most people do it so unconsciously, they have no idea how to look at themselves, especially in the part. Now, I could have also just walked away from each and every one of these instances prior to anything happening. First red flag, and I'm out. I think that that's wrong, and certain projected energies I would absorb and leave with. I feel that. I'm sensitive to it. I mean, everybody has a tendency to know when somebody's in a bad mood when they enter the room. It's kind of like a chill comes over you, or, yeah, you can... I mean, if you can relate and you felt somebody's negative energy or bad mood prior to them even speaking by their body language or the way that they entered the room, then comment. That would be sweet. Because if you engage with me and let me know that I'm not just full of shit, which I know that I'm not full of shit, but it'd be cool to know that somebody else is paying attention enough to identify and comment. If you have felt that shit, that's what I don't want to leave with. I absorb it like a sponge. Now, most people do. Unconsciously, they take that stuff. So there's people that get angry all the time. You see, they're doing it because they have somebody near them or around them that takes it from them. And so it's kind of like an addictive cycle for that person, especially if it's constant. And that's how we create monsters, people. Because, well, that person never had anybody with firm boundaries that were against it to truly stand up to them. So their whole entire existence, if they're a constant rageaholic or angry person, they've just been that way and out of control their whole life because no one had the guts to actually back them down or stand up to them. I've found in my personal life a minor bit of an impact with one of these individuals that has been consistently out of hand with their behavior and anger tendencies. I've had some kind of an influence and then that person just reverted. As soon as I stopped really applying myself or investing myself emotionally into this person's life, they just went right back to their old pattern. The other one has shown very big signs of improvement. And I've seen it in the way that this person's more outgoing. In the community when they used to be isolated. Overall behavior, not perfect. Nobody's fucking perfect, especially I don't consider myself perfect. I make mistakes. I become aware of shit every day. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, well, I'm not going to change that because it goes against my values or beliefs. Everybody should feel like that. Everybody should have values and beliefs. I always let mine align with the good of the whole as much as possible. And it could be whatever whole I'm looking at. This fucking society, my current circumstances, my surroundings, my neighbors. If I have coworkers, my coworkers. I do my best to benefit the whole. I always have, just because I love to. Like, that's who I am. I'm not the type that will just constantly try to fuck shit up. I mean, I may come off a little weird and appear that way at some point, probably to some people. But then I have an inherently good message that I always carry around with me, and it's light and love. And I do my best to really project love and light and truth and integrity. And it doesn't always happen. Like, I've accidentally lied within the last few months. And it didn't really, I guess it did kind of benefit because it fit a narrative. And whereas most people would just stick to their fucking guns, right? Like, I don't know. My head likes to logically deduce things and situations and trying to find a try to find the shortest path to things, like the path of least resistance. And I look at different angles and cutting corners, and sometimes it benefits, sometimes it doesn't. I should learn that there's a path, and sometimes the path has to be taken. I worked on a vehicle, and normally I'm very talented with working on a vehicle. The day I got it apart and I had to wait for parts to show up, they didn't show up at the 3:30 mark in the afternoon like they were supposed to. And so I had to wait overnight. Around 5, I came down with COVID. That night was horrible. The next morning I went and I was out at, I think, 8 o'clock in the morning, working on this vehicle to put it back together. Just in the heat of COVID, like, with my brain not working well. It felt like my brain swole overnight. Had a weird fucking fever. Didn't sleep. I put that vehicle back together. It's running. I'm driving it currently, but it's not quite right, and I got to redo the job. So, a big part of me said, stay in bed. Just do the vehicle later. And I was in an emergency situation in my mind, like a panic, almost like fight or flight, because I had no vehicle. I was relying on others for a ride. Previous to my main vehicle breaking and me needing a backup vehicle, right? Previously, I kind of was in a position to set the stage for that. I was already just ride sharing with people, hopping in and getting rides with people, because I was trying to conserve fuel costs, like, as a whole. Like, somebody mentioned it, we had 4 vehicles at one place, 4 of us met, and the guy mentioned, shit, between us all, we probably burnt like 15 gallons of fuel. And it made me think differently, right? I was like, maybe I can just, if I'm going somewhere, like a meeting, for instance, and somebody else is going, I can fucking just hop in and ride with them. So leading up to really needing to rely on that kind of support, I was already doing it. It was much more fucking comfortable. It was so much more comfortable than actually needing a vehicle. And I was in a perilous situation where I felt completely fucking powerless. So what did I do? I went and busted my ass through the sickness to make sure I had a vehicle. And then I didn't do it quite right because I was fucking ill. Whatever, like, I could get down on myself more. I'm kind of mildly depressed over the matter. I could have done better, right? I could have just hung out until I got better and then gone and fixed that fucking thing. The downside is I have appointments to make sure I'm at. And COVID pretty much almost removed me from that. Thank God it was like the, I'm calling it COVID light, or the 24-hour version. Okay, so I'm going to end this video right around 30 to 35 minutes so I can hopefully upload it. My other long videos, I swear to God, they've been trying to upload for like 2 weeks now. Nope, no good. It is also depressing. If each video that I made went on immediately every day, like in the beginning, that would be freaking amazing, right? Amazing. No, it's not happening. I don't know why. So, right now the moon is almost full in the sky that's so beautiful, and the sun's up behind me. Can't really see it because of the cloud cover, but I just find the nature I am in so beautiful. Being in nature, feeling one with nature is what I'm going to really be practicing in a minute. And that little crow talking. I hear him somewhere. It's a really good thing to be in nature. It's like a form of meditation when we start paying attention to it and observe it with a childlike awe. What happens is we become ultra present and here. And so that is basically how we should live life. Running around in a mass-produced society with a crazy hustle and bustle for commercialism is not a way to live, in my opinion. This is a way for me to live because I find much more inner peace. There's no amount of anything or stuff I can buy that would make or replace this experience I have and my connection with nature. And after all, life is just an experience, a series of things we perceive. And for shits and giggles, like I make a 7-mile walk. And because I'm doing it timed and I have the time set aside for it, wow, it doesn't really feel like much. And then I look at something like a 5 to 7 mile walk when I don't really have the time for it, or I'm forced to do it when I wasn't looking forward to it. And it seems so much different. So, it's weird. If it's outside of my routine, it feels uncomfortable. And I don't like it. It's foreign. There's something there. Maybe I can look into it a little bit and just try to accept everything the way it is and how it gets presented to me and go with the flow a little bit more. But I don't like to suffer. So I'll do my best to prevent suffering. And if it was a walk that I wasn't really looking forward to because I don't feel up to it or something like that, I would probably call somebody for a ride. I'd start reaching out to everybody I could. I had an experience where my phone died, though, and I couldn't even call anybody, so I was like, I'm kind of stuck. Normally the phone's on the charger all day in a vehicle, and remove that vehicle, remove the ability to charge the phone. Very weird. It's like being prepared for everything, and then being humbled by being perilous. I like it because I'm able to perceive that. But was it comfortable? It wasn't too bad, I found a way to make things work, and it was an experience. I've been in much worse, rough, hairy conditions to where I didn't even believe that, I've been in so many fucked up situations in life to where I've been screaming, asking why. What did I do to deserve this? The way I feel, or the way I'm being treated, in severe abuse situations. And really fucked up, uncomfortable situations throughout my life, stemming from being a little tiny kid. I have always wondered why I was in those situations. And then I get to a well-rounded point of view that, at least I got to experience all that because now I'm who I am. I don't go and fucking take somebody's shit and take it somewhere else and deliver it there and go like, here, have this shit that I received. I just don't do it. Maybe that was my path in life, my journey, who I was designed and built to be right now. And that's all we have is now. Childlike awe in nature, the way we perceive nature. If we're not in it and we're just doing the other thing, we don't get out in nature enough, there's no way we can be connected to nature. I mean, not really connected to nature like being in nature. That brings us hyper present. I don't like to watch time slip by. I like to be here and now and experience now as much as possible. And right now, I'm thoroughly excited about the way the sky looks with the trees and the light. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. How about that? Just popped into my head. I was going to sing it. And I think to myself, What a wonderful world. Recently, my cousin Jeff sang that song. I think a week and a half later, he died. He died of internal organ failure and bleed out from alcoholism. So the disease of addiction has run rampant through my family. All my family on both sides. It's funny enough. I mean, even my wife's adopted family and her biological family. So my kids, shit. I was doing my best to break this cycle of addiction. Because once it's in your family and it's like in your blood, it's throughout everything. It's all learned behavior. It's in your DNA. It's all the shit that's built up. And then part of society is such a mess with the idea that that's okay. It's okay to, like, it's a social thing. Drinking. Some people don't have a problem. And then some people have it all throughout their family and can identify that and then step outside of that and heal. I did my best and have done my best to heal to where my children do not have to experience that. And I was breaking the cycle. It's a fucking rough road, I'll tell you, because I was trying to break the cycle a lot of ways, more than just one. There was a honeymoon cycle of violence that I was kind of getting used to with my wife, for instance. And it was mirrored opposites of what my mother went through, what I observed. And then I started, I became like my mother in a relationship role. I was getting abused. It's not common for a man to have that happen, but it happens. And I, stood up for myself. I put down some boundaries. Things got worse. I set down some more boundaries. Things got way worse. Then there was physical abuse. And I was looking at everything like, how do I prevent this and change it for the better? And I separated. That was November of 2019. It has been a war and a weird journey since then. And, in a war, there's casualties. And I've paid for it with the amount of negative, crazy-ass, negative emotion, constant framing of something I'm not. And me being an empath, a lot of times I will absorb some of that shit unconsciously, even from a distance. Like, I can feel it. It's like being in a room and having somebody come in with, an anger cloud with them, and they dump it off on everybody else. I can feel it from certain people from a distance, and I can see the results in my life, and I've never known how to really block that off. I just find that the more I am comfortable with myself, the more I'm happy with me, the better everything becomes. And I think that there's a secret there, because the more I'm centered, the more I'm balanced, the better everything becomes. And I love myself, and then I can love everybody else. So please, everybody, get outside, fucking do something good, love yourself, shine a little bit of light, shine a lot of light, shine some love, shine some truth. Get in nature, connect with nature, be one, and be happy. I am ending the video. Peace.